those messages I can't see. Hopefully we're going to be all right now so we can get going. So thank you for your patience. So standing warm up, first of all, as we always do, just remember, just to make sure that if you do have any injuries at all, remember I can't see you, so don't do anything you feel you shouldn't be doing. So just making sure you stay safe. So just listen to your bodies, rest anytime you need to, and we can get going. So let's start with our setup. So standing with our heels underneath your hip bones or the bony parts of your hips, just making sure, just look down and make sure your legs are parallel. Going to be fairly narrow stance there, but your toes should be facing forward, as are your feet. Hello? I don't know what that sound was there. Just soften into your knees a little bit, soften into your thighs. Just try and really lengthen your spine. So you're just lifting your chest up towards the ceiling, sort of trying to really open your chest there. And feeling the front of your shoulders opening as well. Try and soften the bottom of the rib cage down towards your hips. You've got your rib to hip connection there. Let's just pop your arms down by your side. Just roll your shoulders, bring your shoulders forwards up by your ears, and just slide your shoulder blades back and down. So you're just reaching your fingertips towards the floor. A little bit of softness in your knees and your thighs, making sure that the pelvis is in that neutral position. So we just might do a little tuck under with the tailbone, and tip it up towards the ceiling. Then just gently find that position in between. So you're in your neutral pelvis position. And to keep the back supported and to keep the pelvis nice and still, just draw your abdominals in. So just feel yourself pulling in and pulling up. So if you're zipping up a really tight pair of trousers, not too strongly, so it needs to be just to a degree that you can keep throughout the class. Shoulders back and down. Let's breathe in as you float your arms up towards the ceiling, and breathe out as you float your arms back down by your sides. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Breathing wide and deep into the sides and the back of your rib cage. We're still going to start to move the left leg. So as you reach your arms up, just slide your left foot along the floor, lift the arms up, and slide the left foot to underneath your hip, and then behind you, and just take your arms slightly behind you. And slide your foot along the floor, lift the arms up, so the foot's in just forward of your right foot, and then slide the leg back behind you as your arms go behind. And if you feel you can, let's lift the leg up away from the floor as you reach your arms up, so you're reaching your toes forward. And then sweep the arms down, the leg comes down, and if you can, just sweep the leg behind and lift the foot off the floor. And let's go again, sweep the leg forwards, lift the arms up. Sweep the leg behind as the arms go slightly behind. Just try not to wobble. Just do one of those each side. Just getting that movement through your hip, keeping the leg nice and long. So last time the leg's going to go behind, whether your foot's on or off the floor, that's fine. And then put your foot down on the floor underneath your hip. Reset your shoulders, breathe in. As you breathe, slide your right foot along the floor and lift the arms up so your toes just touching the floor. Slide your foot behind you and take your arms behind you. And sweep the leg forward, reach your arms up. And sweep the leg behind, sweep the arms behind. So you can stay with this, just keeping your foot on the floor. Just keeping it in contact with the floor. Otherwise, let's see if we can float the leg away from the floor. So your toes are reaching forwards, fingertips to ceiling. And then the arms come down. You're just going to sweep the leg behind. Just feeling your hip open there, reaching through your toes. And then sweep the leg forwards again as the arms come up. And sweep the arms behind as the leg goes behind. One more last time. So we're really standing strong in that left leg there. Just mobilizing into your right hip, activating your glute and your hamstring. Feet down on the floor, underneath your hips again. And let's just start to walk through our feet now. So just lift your left heel off the floor, put it down, and your right heel. So we're just walking through the feet, trying to keep the shoulders over your hips, trying to keep that balance across your pelvis. Try not to rock too much from side to side. And then we're going to lift the opposite arm up towards the ceiling to the heel that's lifting away from the floor. So now we're just walking through our feet as we're floating alternate arms up towards the ceiling. So just a nice bit of mobility through the knees, the ankles, the hips, the arms, the shoulders. And then from there, keep your legs going, keep walking through your feet, but let's start to take the arms wide to the side and up towards the ceiling. So just like a little bit more of a windmilling movement. And then we're going to keep the arms wide to the sides and lower both of your heels down onto the floor. Shoulders way away from your ears. Breathe in. As you breathe out, turn your head to the left and start to reach your left fingertips towards the left side wall. So you're just looking along your arm and then breathing in, look forwards, straighten your spine. Breathing out, turn your head to the right and reach your right fingertips towards the right side wall. Try not to let your left foot lift off the floor and look forwards. Reach to the left, turn your head to the left. Stretch your right sideways. Come back through centre and go again the other side. A big stretch, a big reach. Arms are starting to feel heavy now. Let's do one more to the left. Big reach. And let's do one more to the right. And look forwards. Breathe in. As you breathe out this one, drop your left arm towards the floor as your right arm goes up and in. Feel a really big stretch there now. Breathe in. As you breathe out, bring your arms wide to the side and drop your right arm down as your left arm goes up and over. One more of those each side. So just getting more of a stretch. Try and think C-curve in your spine sideways. So it's that lateral, that side bend, lateral flexion of your spine. Keep your right arm down. Bring the left arm all the way up and over and down by your sides. Now let's float the arms forward. So your arms are shoulder height, shoulder width apart. So we're going to do a bow and arrow now, just getting a twist in your spine. So moving from the waist upwards. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to bend the left elbow and you're going to draw the left elbow towards the wall behind you, following the arm with your eyes. So just twisting your spine and breathing in, slowly glide that arm back forwards and exhaling, bend your right elbow, pull the elbow towards the wall behind you. Try to keep the hips completely still and slide it back through. And then again, the other side, the left arm, and reach it back through, and then your right, and then reach it through. A little bit different next time. So we're going to breathe out. You're going to bend your left elbow, take it to the wall behind, towards the wall behind you. As you breathe, extend that arm long, so now you're reaching your fingertips towards the wall behind you. And then breathing out, we're going to sweep the extended arm all the way back through. Right elbow bends, right arm extends, and then your right arm sweeps through. One more each side. You don't need to extend the arm long, just keep the elbow bent if you need to. And last time, bend, extend, and sweep the arm through. Let your arms come slowly down by your sides. Reset your shoulders. A nice big shoulder roll. Slide your shoulder blades back and down. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's go into our squat. Sit back and down as if there's a low chair behind you. You're aiming your bottom towards the chair. Press into your squeeze, your glutes stand nice and tall. And then we're going to lift the arms up towards you and float your heels away from you, coming into your standing balance. Lower the heels as your arms come down by your sides, and then we're going to sit back and down. Keep your spine and your neck long. Keep the weight heavy in your heels when you come out of that squat, and then float the heels off the floor as you reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Your heels come down, your arms come down by your sides. Let's do that 2 more times. Only go as deep into that squat as you feel you can. Try not to let your knees creep far forward of your toes. Let's lift, maybe trying to lift a little bit taller, but try not to hike your shoulders up towards your ears. Lower your heels, lower your arms one more last time. Let's sit back and down. Maybe you can go a little bit deep for this last one. And then push into your heels, straighten your legs. And then one more last time, we're going to come into our balance, standing nice and tall. And then bring your arms down as you slowly bring your arms down by your sides. So now, if you're not there already, you might already well be there, but if you're not at the end of your mat, go to the end of the mat. So we've got the length of the mat in front of us. Reset your shoulders, shoulder blades back and down. Make sure you've got that connection to your abdominals again. So just drawing in or pulling up. So we're supporting our back, keeping nice and stable. Breathe in. As you breathe out, your chin's going to fall towards your chest, and this time we're going to come into our forward flexion. Hands on your thighs if you need support. Big bend in the knees if you need to. Only coming down as deep as you feel you can, so be very mindful of your backs here. So if you come all the way down, you should be looking in between your legs here. Breathe in as you breathe out, pull the abdominals in slowly. Restack your spine and come all the way up to standing. Look forwards, roll your shoulders, bring your shoulders forwards, up by your ears, slide your shoulder blades back and down. Breathe in as you breathe out, chin to chest. Let's slowly roll all the way down again. Just let your arms hang if you can. So you've got gravity, the weight of your arms, your upper body, really challenging the legs, stretching the back of the legs, opening up into your lower back, and then slowly coming back up again. Restack it, so just getting that lovely flowing movement into our spines. Reset your shoulders, always a good idea just to make sure your shoulder blades are down towards the base of your spine in a soft V shape, and then we're coming down again. We're going to stay down this time, so if you need to take that big bend in the knees to reach down towards the floor, bend your knees a lot. When you have arrived with your fingertips towards the floor, all of us are going to bend our knees and we're going to walk out onto the mat. So coming into your tabletop position, wrists under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. So just making sure we're nice and square in this tabletop position. Again, your shoulder blades are back and down, making sure our pelvis is in that neutral position still, so we're not tipping our sit bones up to the ceiling, we're not tucking them under, just they should be nice and level. And pull your abdominals in, so drawing them in, and keep your neck and your spine nice and long. If anybody's got wrist issues at all, you might want to just hop down onto your forearms, which is an option. If you do that, make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders rather than your hands, and you don't let your chest slump towards the floor, so keep the spine and the neck nice and long. So again, we're keeping connected to our abdominals. Let's start with the left leg. We're going to do what's called a fire hydrant. So just hover your left knee off the floor. So your knee stays bent. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to lift the left knee up towards the ceiling, keeping the heel in line with your knee and keeping the hips and the back completely still. Breathing in, just bring that knee to a hover underneath your hip and go again, exhaling. So the legs coming sideways up towards the ceiling. Keep the knee in alignment with your hip and the heel in line with your knee. So we're going to do 5 of these. Exhale to lift. Don't lift it so high that your left hip lifts as well. 2 more, and nice and slowly lift the leg. And bring it back to hover. So really working into our glutes and our hips, mobility and strength. So last time, and just put the knee back down directly underneath your hip. Hover your right knee off the floor. Breathe in. As we breathe out, exactly the same. Your right knee lifts up towards the ceiling. So all we're doing is we're moving the legs sideways up towards the ceiling, just moving at the hip. Nothing else changes. 5 of those. And 3 more. Exhale as we lift. Inhale as knee hovers. And 2 more. And last time like that. And bring the knee down. So that's a little bit of work for your legs. So now we're going to do some push-ups. So press ups, but we're going to make it a little bit easier today. So we're going to just work through the upper body, strengthening the chest, the arms and the shoulders. If you're on your forearms, come up onto your hands and knees. If you can't come onto your hands and knees, maybe just on your forearms and do cat and cow instead. Otherwise, we're going to keep our spine and our neck really long, shoulder blades down. Breathing in, we're going to bend the elbows. So the elbows are going to go wide to the side. You're just going to lower your chest down towards the floor, in between your hands. Then push your hands into the floor, straighten your arms, so you're back in that tabletop. And go again, breathing in, we lower the chest, we bend the elbows, keep your spine and your neck really long. And breathing out, we push the floor away. Just do 3 more like that. So really nice work for our upper body. Just hinge from the hips and bend the elbows. Nothing else changes. Make sure it's your chest coming down towards the floor, not your head. So we're coming slightly forwards. And 1 more last time. Bend your elbows, just slowly sinking down and then push the floor away. If your hands are wide, let's walk the hands in. So now your hands are underneath your shoulders again. So we're back in that neutral tabletop position. Let's get some movement back into the spine. Breathe in as we breathe out. Let's do a cat stretch. Tuck your tailbone under, navel draws in towards your spine. Your chin last of all tucks in towards your chest. Lovely flexion of your spine now. And then as you breathe in, let's tip the sit bones up towards the ceiling. Dip your spine. Slide your shoulder blades down, look forwards, chest is forwards. And let's go again. Let's just do 2 more each way. So don't rush, just trying to really let that movement flow all the way up your spine. Flexion and extension. And 1 more each way. Remember, this can be done on your forearms if you need to. Just a lot of weight bearing through our upper body here. So a lot of weight going through your wrists as well. So just be very mindful. And then we're going to just finish up in our tabletop position. So you might just want to sit on your heels now, or high knee, or just so we can just roll the shoulders now, just getting a bit of movement into our shoulders, and circle your wrists. Few circles one way, few circles the other way. You might even want to wiggle your fingers a little bit there too. So from there, let's come onto our, all the way down onto our fronts now, so in our prone position. So just coming down nice and slowly and safely. Let's work the legs again first of all. So we're going to swim today. So stack your hands, so your chest is all the way down on the floor. Stack your hands and rest your forehead lightly on the backs of your hands. Try and have your elbows a little bit lower than your stacked hands. So that will enable us just to make sure that the shoulder blades can draw down towards the base of the spine. So we keep our shoulders away from our ears. Feel the length in your neck and your forehead just resting lightly on the backs of your hands. Your nose should be just pointing down towards the mat. Stretch your legs long behind you, so your legs should be hip width apart, more or less, with your heels in line with your sit bones. So try and push your sit bones toward, or push or pull your sit bones towards your heels. So you're opening up your lower back there. And as you do that, you should just feel your abdominals, your tummy pulling away from the mat. We need to keep the tummy away from that, keep pulling it in. So just imagine we've got those drawing pins underneath our belly button. So just keeping that engagement there. So we should be in a nice stable position here now to begin. So let's start by breathing in. And as you breathe out, just lengthen your right leg, just lift it away from the floor. So your knee comes right off the floor. And you just feel that a little bit of opening into your right hip. Breathing in, lower the leg back down. And then exhaling, lengthen and lift the left leg. So we're not trying to lift the leg too high. We're just trying to feel length in the leg as we lift and lower it. So it's a single leg extension, lengthen and lift it. You should feel your hamstring working and your glute as well as you lift and lower the leg. It's just alternating. And I really feel like you're lengthening the leg long out of your hip, and you're also reaching through your toes as well. So let's just do 1 more with the left leg. So you've done 3 of those each side, and you can stay with that. Otherwise, if you can, we're just going to slide the hands from underneath your forehead, extend your arms along overhead. So now your arms are shoulder width apart overhead, palms facing in, thumbs to ceiling. And if you can, just draw your shoulder blades down again. So as we extend the arms, quite often we hike our shoulders up towards our ears. We want to keep them away from the ears, shoulder blades are down. And just hover your head off the floor. Now it's the opposite arm, opposite leg. So breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift the left arm, and the right leg. And then just very lightly let them rest on the floor. Then on your next exhale, we lift the left leg and the right arm. Again, think length, not height. So just keeping your spine and your neck really still, just trying not to let your head rest on the floor. So think about the neck in line with the spine all the time, keeping that slight extension. So it's just opposite arm, opposite leg, lifting and lowering. Remember, you can work the arms only or the legs only if it's too much, working opposite arm, opposite leg. We're going to build on this if you can. Let's do 1 more with the left leg and the right arm. You stay with that if that's enough. Otherwise, we're going to breathe in as we breathe out. We're going to lift both of the arms and both of the legs off the floor. Squeeze your glutes, reach through your toes, and very lightly pop the arms and legs back down. And exhale, lengthen and lift again. So like Superman. And lower back down. Make sure there's no pinching in your lower back. Make sure you just keep tucking your pelvic bone down into the floor. And carry on with that. Let's keep going. Exhale, lengthen and lift. So a lot of extension down the back of the body. And 2 more if you can. Don't forget to breathe. It's very easy to hold your breath. Exhale, let's lengthen and lift. And inhale, lower down. From there, let's just take a release off. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your elbows in towards each other, push yourself up onto your hands and knees, and then pull your sit bones back towards your heels. You might get your sit bones on your heels, you might not, depends on then the mobility in your hips and your spine, just taking that stretch. Good. And then from there, let's come up onto our hands and knees. Let's walk towards the bottom end of the mat. So you've got the length of the mat behind you. Sit and come to seated. So bring your legs around to one side and then in front of you. And let us sit nice and tall. So have your knees bent first of all with your feet flat on the floor. Again, that neutral alignment again. Remember, heels, knees and sit bones or hip bones are in alignment. So our legs are hip distance apart. Let's just put our hands lightly behind our thighs. Take your elbows a little bit wider than your hips. Breathe in. As you breathe out, all we're going to do is just going to gently press the hands into the thighs and really build your spine. So we're sitting really nice and tall there. Then roll your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades back and down, sitting really nice and tall now. Breathe in, just bring your arms forward. Keep your hands behind your thighs if you need support. Breathe in. As we breathe out, we're not going to go very far back. You're just going to round your spine, find a C curve and just tuck your turbinates, just roll off your sit bones, just coming onto the back of your hips. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to come back up. Use your abdominals, slowly coming back up and sit tall at the top. You can stay with this if you want to, just roll just a little way back, but make sure you keep that C curve in your spine so it's that flexion of your spine. Your tummy's pulling in. Breathe in as you breathe out. Let's come back up. So only if you feel you can, we're going to roll all the way down. So breathe in. As you breathe out, let's slowly come down. So imprint your spine. Be very careful. If you're coming all the way down, just let your arms start to float up towards the ceiling, then towards the floor behind you. Don't let your rib cage pop up here. So keep pulling the ribs down towards your hips. Then as you breathe in, float your arms up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, peel your spine away from that. We're going to come and sit really nice and tall at the top. Remember, if it's not for you, if you can't come back up, don't go all the way down. Let's just do one more like that. So we're just keeping our knees bent these first couple of repetitions. So really challenging our core strength here. So if it's not that good, we need to work on it. So these are excellent exercises to get mobility into your spine and to build your core strength. Any lower back issues, just be very careful. Your next option, we're just going to extend the legs along. Just point your toes up towards the ceiling if you can. Again, find that really nice seated posture. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just go a little way down, and that might just be enough for you. Breathe in. As you breathe out, come back up again. And let's do that one more last time. So you might find it easier with your legs long rather than your knees back, or you might find it harder. So if it's harder and you find it too hard, bend your knees again. Shall we go all the way down? If you want to come all the way down, just put your arms and your hands on the floor if you need to. And then only come all the way down. If you know you can come back up again. Float your arms towards the floor behind you. Breathe in, float your arms up. And as you breathe out, let's peel the spine away from the mat and sit really tall at the top. So all of us are going to go all the way down this time. So if you need to put your hands on the floor, go onto your side and come down. Otherwise, let's do that one more last roll down. Legs straight or knees bent, you can choose. Let's slowly go all the way down. Float your arms up towards the ceiling. When your head and shoulders are on the floor, take your arms towards the floor behind you, and then a big circle of the arms wide to the sides, and draw your arms in so your hands are in line with your hips, and then rest your arms lightly on the mat down by your sides. And then we're going to slide the feet in. So now we're in a semi-supine lying position, so our knees are bent. And if you want to, if you've got something handy and you're used to using something underneath the back of your head to support your head or your neck, like a flattish cushion or a Pilates block or a folded up towel, just pop that underneath your head now. The most important thing is that we're not looking at the wall behind us, we're looking up towards the ceiling. So keep that length in your neck so you feel that the back of the neck is really open. Find your neutral alignment again for the heels, the knees and the hips. Legs are hip distance apart, like when we were standing, when we were seated. And make sure that your shoulder blades are on the mat, so we've got that stability across our upper body. Just try and feel that your back ribs are quite heavy on the floor there, so just soften them down into the mat, and that should allow the top of your front ribs to just draw down towards your hips, so we're not flaring the rib cage. Pelvis is in that neutral position, so just pop your arms down by your side, just flatten your lower back onto the mat, just that very low portion of your back, press it down, and then arch it away, and then try and find that position in between. So your pelvis isn't tipped or tilted, it's in that neutral position, so your lower back's on the floor. And then we're going to engage the core, so feel the abdominals pulling in, or lift up your pelvic floor, that's always an option, so pulling in or pulling up. So arms are going to be light on the mat down by your sides, but we're going to turn the palms interface your hips, thumbs towards the ceiling, pulling your shoulders away from your ears. From here, breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to straighten the left leg towards the bottom end of the mat. At the same time, both of your arms are going to go back towards the floor behind you without the rib cage popping up. And as you breathe in, you're going to bring the leg back in as you circle your arms wide to the sides and bring them back down in line with your hips. Exhaling your right leg, so you're just reaching your toes towards the bottom end of the mat, so the leg is just hovering off the floor as both of the arms go back, and then we circle the arms wide to the side and in as your foot comes back in. You could slide your heel along the floor if you want to keep your foot in contact with the floor. When you straighten your left leg, arms go back. And breathe in, arms circle round as the foot comes back in. Let's just do one more of those. So this is your level one. This is your easy option, easier option. All the time, making sure that your lower back does not arch away from the floor. So it stays on the mat. So you stay with that if you want to. So you've always got one foot on the floor, so that will give you a lot more stability. If you're feeling strong, let's lift the feet off the floor one at a time. So both of your knees are over your hips. So this is your tabletop position. Your heels are more or less in line with your knees. So you've got that right angle more or less behind your knees. From here, a little bit more challenging, so maybe just connect your core a little bit more deeply. Breathe in as you breathe out. Both of the arms are going to go back the same. We're going to stretch that left leg away to 45 degrees, so just reaching through your toes. Sweep your arms around by your sides again as the knee comes back in over your hip. Then the right leg, stretch it away. So a lot more challenging now with both of the feet off the floor. So really feel that work in those deep lower abdominal muscles. Just work getting that activity in your upper body as we're circling the arms. So keep looking at the ceiling. Remember, I'm only looking sideways because I'm just looking at the camera, but you should be just looking up at the ceiling, keeping that just that little space in between your chin and your chest. Stretch that leg away. So if you feel it's allowing your lower back to arch a little bit off the floor, just take the leg higher up towards the ceiling as you take your arms back, and then your back is less likely to move. Maybe you might feel you can take your leg a little bit lower. So that's more challenging. The lower your leg goes towards the floor, the more you need to really use your core muscles, your deep abdominals to stabilize. I'm going to give you one more last time, but only do this if you know you can stay safe and your back doesn't move. We're going to stretch both of the legs away as both of your arms go back. And then as you breathe in, your knees are going to come in and your arms are going to circle down by your side. Let's do 3 more. Remember, go back to that level 1 if you need to, where you've got one foot on the floor all the time. Let's just do 2 more. So you're really reaching for your fingertips and your toes here. And last time, so lovely mobility, nice flowing movements if you can. And last time, arms come round, and then wherever you are, whatever you've been doing, If your feet are on the floor, both of your feet off the floor, we can just bring the knees in towards your chest, give them a little bit of a hug, just to release up and open up your lower back. And then with your lower back on the floor, then you can just take a little rock from side to side. So just giving your lower back a little bit of a massage. Then one at a time, let's reset, put our feet back down on the floor. So a lot of deep lower abdominal work there, still some work for our upper body, but we're going to really focus now on the upper abdominals, the upper core muscles. So we're going to do some curl-ups. And again, I'm going to give you lots of different options. First of all, set yourself up into that same lying down position as we found before we did those arms and the arm circles and the leg extensions. So same position for your pelvis, your shoulders, your ribs. Make sure you've got that connection to your core. So now we're going to interlace the fingers, lift your head off the floor, take your hands behind the back of your head, and then lower your head and your hands back down. So you're just cradling the back of your head in your hands, so you've just got some support for the back of your head and your neck. So try and keep the neck nice and long, and just imagine now we've got that little soft peach just tucked underneath your chin. We're going to keep hold of that peach, but we're not going to squash it either. Your elbows, try and have them just above the level of your ears, so you should just be able to see your elbows at the corners of your eyes. So we don't want to have them hugging in towards each other, otherwise we close the chest. We want to keep the front of the shoulders and the chest wide and open. So we're going to keep the pelvis completely still as we peel the head and the upper spine off the mat. So when you're ready, take a nice big in-breath. As you breathe out, we're just going to curl up. So you're just lifting your head and just your upper spine off the mat. So I would guess you should be just looking just above the level of your knees here. And breathing in, slowly come back down. Don't worry if you can't come up that high. Curling up again. So don't try and peel too much of your spine away from you, because if you do, what's going to happen is your tailbone's going to curl under. We're going to destabilize the pelvis. We want to keep our pelvis nice and still. So make sure you're scooping in, your tummy's pulling in as we curl up. Trying not to allow the belly to dome outwards. We're sucking it in, scooping it in, and you can stay with this. And remember, don't bring your elbows towards each other. It's really easy to pull your elbows in as you curl up. Just keeping that space in between your elbows, the same distance all the time. So you might just want to stay with this, just curling up and curling back down. Let's add in a little bit of a challenge. Breathe in as you breathe out, curl up, stay here. And as you inhale, just reach your arms up towards the ceiling, reach your fingertips towards your ankles, stay curled up, interlace your fingers, take your hands behind the back of your head, and come back down again. Exhale, lift, inhale, reach your arms up and forwards, and arms up, hands behind your head, and then we lower back down. So really holding that tension across your abdominals there. Coming up, curl up. Breathe in, reach your arms forward, fingertips point towards your ankles, staying curled up, hands go back behind the head, and slowly coming back down. Let's keep going with that. You don't need to stay up, just come up and go back down again. Otherwise, just really challenging now. Starting to feel maybe a little bit of a burn there. Can we do some more? Curl up, look forwards, don't look at the ceiling. 2 more. Curl up. Reach, rest if you need to. Stay lifted, don't collapse. Just 1 more. So I can feel it, I'm sure you can feel it. Let's come up, let's reach those arms forward, stay up, hands behind your head, and lower all the way back down. Then take your hands from behind your head, reach your arms all along behind you, reach through your fingertips, stretch your arms away, and again that big circle, that big sweep of the arms wide to the side, and then just rest your arms lightly on the mat down by your sides. So let's slide the heels in a little bit closer to your sit bones now. So you haven't moved your legs. If you have moved your legs, find your alignment again, that hip distance apart. Your heels come a little bit closer to your sit bones now, about hand distance. When if you put towards a block or anything underneath the back of your head, just slide it away. So we're just going to open up the hips a little bit. So we've done a lot of flexion in the hips. We're going to open up the hips, a nice stretch. And then we're going to really work the back of the body in our shoulder bridge. So just let your arms stay light on the mat down by your sides. shoulders wide across your back, chest wide and open, tummy's pulling in. Pelvis stays in neutral, is in neutral, doesn't stay there before we start. And then let's come up into our bridge. So take a big in-breath to prepare. And as you breathe out, tuck your tail under, flatten your lower back onto the mat, engage your glutes, and slowly let's peel our spines away from that, slowly coming up onto your shoulders, lifting your hips, not too high. We don't want to let the rib cage pop up here, so think ski slope position, nice straight line from your knee all the way down to your shoulders. And then on your next exhale, if you haven't come down already whilst I was talking, let's imprint your spine back down onto that. And don't forget to mobilise every bone of every section of your spine. And let's come up again on your exhale. So you might want to just gently press into your feet and push your knees forward. Make sure you're really strong in your glutes here. So squeeze in your glutes as we come up. Breathe in, let's slowly come back down again. If this isn't for you, if you don't want to come all the way up, just do a little tip and tilt of the pelvis at the bottom if you can't come all the way onto your shoulders. If you want to, let's just float the arms up towards the ceiling and towards the floor behind you. So your arms just going all the way back or just up towards the ceiling. If you've got shoulder issues, you might not want to take your arms all the way back. If you can, your palms are facing the ceiling. And then on your exhale, let's pull the arms back up towards the ceiling as you start to come down out of your bridge. And as your lower back is just releasing onto the floor, your arms are just coming down by your sides. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's come up again. So just getting that fluidity into your spine. So it's like a ripple as you lift up. Away, going all the way up your spine and then all the way down. So it's a really lovely exercise for our back, strengthening our backs, our glutes, working into our hamstrings as well. One more last option, it is only an option. We're going to peel the heels off the floor as we lift the arms, as we peel the spine off the mat. So as your arms are going back, you're on the balls of your feet. And you're on your shoulders, and then as you come down out of your bridge, we're just going to slowly lower the heels, bring the arms up towards the ceiling, and slowly all the way down by your sides. Shall we just do one more, because we can? Or rest if you need to. So it's just a really nice exercise, our shoulder bridge. Lifting up nice and try and make sure all the time your hips are balanced so they're level to the floor all the time, so we're not leaning over to one side or the other. And very slowly let's come all the way down out of our bridge. So from there you might want to lift your feet off the floor one at a time, give your knees a hug again, so we can just maybe just open up the lower back again, just stretching a little bit and taking a gentle little rock from side to side. So let's just finish off with some hip rolls. It's quite a nice exercise. Quite often I like to finish with hip rolls, but I will give you different levels so you can challenge it as much as you want to. So for your hip rolls, that same posture, lying down. And this time, however, we're going to pin the knees and the ankle bones together. So your legs aren't hip distance apart, your legs are pinned together. Still neutral pelvis, however, and don't have the heels again too close to your sit bones, so in their normal position, a little bit further away from sit bones. Let's take the arms wide to the side, so your arms need to be lower than your shoulders, but wider than your mat. And if you can, just turn your palms to face the ceiling, so we can really sink the shoulders onto the mat, and your arms and your shoulders are glued to the mat now, as are the inside of your ankle bones and the inside of your knees. So from here, so just making sure we've still got that engagement to your core. As you breathe in, just allow your knees to drop over to the left and turn your head to the right. So getting that twist in the spine, just that gentle turn of the head. And as you exhale, using the waist muscles, pull your knees back up to point towards the ceiling and look up at the ceiling, then go the other way. Breathing in, your knees are going to the right. So your left hip lifts off the floor. It might not lift very high off the floor. Remember, we're all very different, so you might have a limited range of movement here. But try and keep your ankle bones glued together, so the knees go to the left and the right foot should be sitting on top of your left foot now. And your right shoulder hasn't moved, it's still glued to the floor. Back to centre, let's do one more like that to the right. So just lift the hip if you can. And then Bring the knees to the ceiling, look at the ceiling. The next option, let's lift the feet off the floor one at a time. And again, the knees and the ankle bones are pinned together. Just softly point your toes so your legs are in tabletop. Breathe in, knees to the left, that gentle turn of the head to the right without the right shoulder lifting. And breathing out, knees to ceiling. Look up at the ceiling and go the other way. So just alternating, just side to side. So it's more than likely you've got a smaller range of movement now with your feet off the floor. So be very careful, keep that stability. I'll give you one more last option if you want to take it, whether your feet are on the floor or off the floor. We're going to take the knees over to the left, and then you're going to extend your top leg. So your right leg is just going to straighten. So you're reaching through your toes, but your knees are still glued together. And then keeping your top leg, that right leg straight, we're going to bring the legs back up to the ceiling. And then you fold that right knee, so you're back to tabletop. Take your knees over to the right, turn your head to the left, your top leg, your left leg, extend it long, keep the knees glued together so your toes are pointed, left leg long, right knees bent, and then bring your legs back to face the ceiling, and then bend the left knee, both of your legs to tabletop, over to the left, and your top leg, your right leg, stretch it away, and bring the legs back up, and fold the knee in, and one more last time, let's go over to the right, and extend your left leg long, and bring the legs back up, and bend the knee. Hands on your knees. Give your knees a really big hug. Take a little release from side to side. It will be a really good idea to just do some stretches now. So let's start with the right leg. So put your left foot on the floor. Just hug your right knee. So you can have your hand behind you on your thigh or hand on top of your knee. Keep your heel in line with your sit bone. Just gently draw that knee in nice and close. You get a really nice stretch into the glutes, into the hip. And then if you want to, or if you can, just slide your left heel along the floor as you hug the right knee and just point your left toes. So just extending the left leg away. And you might even want to lift that left leg slightly away from the floor so it can really stretch the left leg along as we hug that right knee in really close. And then you can bend the left leg and put the left foot on the floor, or keep the left leg where it is. Let's stretch the right leg up towards the ceiling, hands behind your thigh or behind your calf. Left leg is lifted, or put the left leg on the floor if you need to. Just feel that stretch in your hamstring as you just gently pull the leg in. You might even want to push your right heel up towards the ceiling. So feeling that all the way down the back of the leg, that stretch might not be that comfortable, but it's a good stretch. And then bend your right knee, slide your left leg in, put your right foot on the floor. Let's hug the left knee in, get nice and close. Either keep your right foot where it is or slide your right leg away, just pointing your toes on that right leg, and then just lengthen it a little bit more as you lift it away from the floor as an option. So we can really hug in one leg, stretch the other leg away. And then we're going to lengthen the left leg, whether your foot's on the floor, whether your right knee's bent or not, you can choose. And just gently draw that leg in. So never overstretch, just hold it for a breath or two. And then just push your left heel to the ceiling, if that's not too painful. So a really good stretch into your calf and your hamstring, and then lower your right leg. If you lifted it, slide your right leg in, bend your left knee, and bring your right knee in to join it. So you've got both of your knees in towards your chest. Maybe just take another little rock from side to side. We're going to roll up to seated, or you might want to just go onto your side and push yourself up. If you can, roll yourself up to seated. Just making sure you come up nice and safely. Just for a few, we've done leg and hip stretches. Let's do some upper body stretches before you go. Find your sit bones, so make sure you're sitting really nice and tall. Your shoulders are over your hips, shoulder blades back and down. And let's take the hands on the mat by the side of the hips. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's take a side bend first of all. So take your left arm up and over, just bending into that right elbow as much as you can. So just getting a deeper stretch without the sit bone lifting off the floor. Bring the arm back up and over, then your right arm side stretch. Sweep the arm back up and over. Flick your arms up towards the ceiling and take your arms wide to side and behind you. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Draw your shoulder blades in and down. And maybe you can look up towards the ceiling. So open the front of the shoulders and the chest. Really nice stretch. And then from there, sit nice and tall at the top. Just pop your hands on the front of your knees. Take your elbows wide to the side. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's tuck the tailbone under, round your spine, draw your chin in towards your chest, and try and stretch across your mid, your upper back, so your shoulder blades are wide across your back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just draw your elbows in towards each other. Let's sit really nice and tall at the top. And then let's just reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Take a big circle of the arms wide to the side. And bring your hands all the way down to the floor by the side of your hips. Roll your shoulders. If your legs are crossed, maybe just uncross your legs so you can just give your legs a little bit of a shake out. So well done. Thank you very much, everybody, for bearing with us this morning.